Hi guys, it's Tracy in Australia and surprise, surprise, I have popped in with another project share. I said I'd be back soon, hopefully. And like the previous one that I uploaded a couple of days ago, this is also an Easter journal. And it's quite different to the other one. This was made with a couple of goals, and one of them was to use these rings as the binding because I bought them for another project and that didn't work out. And the other thing was that I have, like a lot of you, these book pages. I have loads of them and there's no way I'll ever use them all up making ephemera. So I wanted to use them to make the pages for this book as well as the covers, and I've done that by I glue 4 of them together, and then I use that as the base for a page. I usually collage either papers or scraps onto the back and the front, and the pages are actually so sturdy that I don't need to use eyelets. To make the covers a little bit stronger, I add the pages to a piece of card that I have repurposed from things like cereal boxes. So if you are interested in how I do that and would like to know more or see a little tutorial, just leave a note down below and I'm happy to do a quick tutorial about that. Okay, so this measures 5 inches by 7.5, and the pages are slightly smaller. For the cover, I've just used these beautiful papers from chapter 1. I'll leave a link in the description box. It was a set called Aqua papers, and that was the color that I chose for this one, and I added these bits to the rings with that in mind. So this piece here is actually from a Stamperia mold, and I used paper clay in that, and then I've placed this little bunny in there and used a piece of upcycled plastic to give the idea of glass behind a frame. So one of the things that drew me to this paper was the color, but I loved these little roses, and also it's kind of very Baroque and it has these little bits of gold on it, and I've actually taken that a little bit further and added some gold foil just for a little bit of bling. So this paper I used on the front and the back, and then I used another paper on the inside. Now, quite honestly, I can't remember whether this is a commercial piece or a digital that I had left over from another project. Love this paper. It's commercial. I've had it for years, can't remember where it came from, but it was obviously, I think, something, it was quite a specialist paper used for weddings. So I've just popped in a little commercial card, and then this gorgeous bunny on an egg, or he looks like a hare actually, because a lot of the German Easter cards and even the French ones, what you see as the Easter bunny is actually Osterhase, the Easter hare. So my first page, the other thing that I used was a set from Amity Bloom. I loved the previous one that I'd done, so I purchased another one, and this one is called Sage Skies. And then on some of the pieces I have added other little bits, like I added in this little piece here. So pocket made with a 3D embossing folder, which I absolutely love. A little photo of 2 girls with their bunnies, and this medieval image of a hare playing a musical instrument. And then I've used some gold washi tape behind that to give a little bit of bling, and popped it onto a piece of commercial card that was in my scrap bin. And this page I have used some pages from the Amity Bloom kit, but then I've also included book pages, and that's what I mean by collaging. So, and little scraps from my bin as well. So it's a very collaged page. So this belly band is actually a piece of gorgeous embroidered ribbon. It's kind of green and gold from Which Craft Do You Do? And I've got this beautiful little card, and I've added a little bit of decoration to that. Another page from the Amity Bloom kit. I've added a little bit of washi here, another vintage photo, two little girls shopping, and they've got giant Easter eggs, which is really cool. I had this glassine paper bag, and I've cut it down and left it gusseted and put this ad for egg dyes on the cover, and then into it I popped this photo that I took from Pinterest of decorated eggs. I love all those decorated eggs that you often see in Eastern Orthodox countries. And this is a copy of a little poem about Easter eggs. And I've printed that onto newsprint. I like using that. I like the texture and how thin it is. Pocket is just made out of ribbon. This is one of the papers from the Chapter 1 kit, and then I've got a book page, looks like a dictionary page, and then a little scrap piece. This is commercial paper, and then I've done a little bit of collaging on that. The flower comes from ShabbyArtBoutique, and I'd used them in another project and had quite a few leftover ones. So another ad for a decorating kit for Easter eggs. The other side of that card, Victorian card, just beautiful, and a couple of little tickets. And I've chosen those because of the colours. These pages were, I picked them up at an op shop, and they were Woman's Weekly plant cards, and I love this binding down the side. So I actually used that on the edge and punched holes on the other side. And again, I've collaged on that to make it stronger, and also just so I could have those colours, and made a little pocket. It's a little card. This one's actually a Russian Easter card. I love the little flowers, and inside I've popped another photo, a little girl with some bunnies. I love using photos, always have. I actually love vintage photos. Old music paper on the back here, little piece from the graphics fairy, and then I've made a little pocket, just added some little bits and pieces. This is actually from PixieDustFiles kit that I've purchased recently. It's called Hippity Hop. It's really gorgeous. Going to do a journal out of that. And this is one of my favorite little photos. How sweet is this little girl in her Sunday best? And she has the happiest face. So one of the Amity Bloom pages, and you can take the photo out. I've used the photo corners. So you could put your own photo in or use it as a secret little spot for journaling. Little bow out of that vintage French ribbon, and a little piece that says made with love. Again, some of the Amity Bloom paper, and then I've added a piece of music paper, and then I've made a little pocket using this ruffled crepe paper, gold ruffled crepe paper. Popped in a little vintage piece and made a little cluster over here. There's lots and lots of things that for Easter on the internet. If you look for free Easter projects, because I think a lot of people must do things with their kids and things like that. So I found a lot, and yeah, nice to use some of them. I made a little flip out with this one. So again, it's a combination of the Amity Bloom papers, vintage papers, and then some scraps from my stash. This one is actually from the Aqua Papers Chapter 1, and then I've used this piece as the hinge. So I've just popped that one in there. And then this is a copy of an illustration of children outside, and they are on an Easter egg hunt. So the idea of an Easter egg hunt came from Germany and was introduced into Britain by Queen Victoria, mentioned it and organised some, but it didn't take off for a really long time. German immigrants took that idea to the United States. So I made a little tag here. It says Easter egg hunt, and there's that photo that I used in the other journal of the little boy with the basket of eggs. And here I used commercial paper and some vintage music paper, one of the flowers that I said that I had left over, and just used, this is actually lace from a very glamorous top that I repurposed from an opportunity shop. Love these paper bags with the gold stars, and I think I've popped some little pieces in that. Oh yeah, I made embossed paper and cut out some bunnies. And I love this idea. This is very German or European with the eggs on branches. We do that in our house. And I make the eggs that go on there generally. I did ones with molds this year. These are a couple little Tilda papers from Tilda. I love her things, and I do have some of hers, and one day, that's another Tilda piece, hope to do a journal using those. This was a freebie, another freebie that I found. Again, a vintage photo, children with their mother. This one's got a really big bunny, and there's a little boy with a basket of eggs, and they're all obviously in their Sunday best. So this one I have made a little side pocket, then used some lace and put some beautifully coloured sari silk through that. This was a little piece that came from the Graphics Fairy, Hail Easter Morn. Then I also found this cute image of this kid wearing a bunny suit and put some back that with some very old paper. And these are again some Tilda pieces. So there's a bunny and a little nest with eggs. Another beautiful vintage card that I've reproduced, used a stamp on the back of, lace pocket. So again, this is one of the papers from Chapter 1. I've used some music paper and then a scrap from my scrap box just to collage that. Here, one of the Women's Weekly cards, and I've just left that blank. Love this egg. And just one of my favourite Easter pieces, and then John 14:6, Jesus answered, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So that's very appropriate for Easter. Beautiful Italian religious card of a baby or a young Christ with the lambs, that idea of the shepherd. Some more of that French ribbon, and I've added a key there. Another one of the lace religious cards. And you can see I've used vintage papers here. These ones are French, and then a couple of little scraps. one of the Amity bloom papers, a little piece from the Graphics Fairy, and then I've popped in another religious card, added a little bit of glitter to the side of that, and a lamb from the Tilda Easter pack. And this is a Graphics Fairy piece. I used that in the previous one, Christ is Risen, and this is actually, I had a Polish card and which I cut up, and that was the Polish for the same thing, Christ has risen, and an art, an engraving, I would say, of the Last Supper. And that actually comes out, and I think I've got another piece behind that. And then that one for the cover. So I hope you've enjoyed that little flip through. I certainly enjoyed making this journal. I make Easter journals every year. I really enjoy doing those. And I hope to see you again soon.